Welcome back to the channel, RevKev RC. First off, I just want to say thanks for coming by. Thanks for stopping in for another video. This is going to be an installment on the Coyote from Axial. This thing has gone through some changes, and I'm going to talk about them, and then we're going to jump out onto the trail and see if the changes have vastly improved, which I'm basically going to guarantee they are. I'm going to tell you what those are in a second, but I just want to say I sound weird because I either have allergies right now or I'm getting sick or am sick. I don't know. But as they say in showbiz, the show must go on. So we're going to do this. And I apologize if I sniffle and all that stuff like a little kid. But I am on the drugs and the things to try to mitigate it. But just real quick, I want to talk about what we've done. This is on a 6 or 7 channel. This came with a cross RC, but I got a Dumbo receiver in there because that's what these actually are. These are Dumbo remotes. I got a servo winch. It's going to be the in and the out, or the out and in. We'll figure it out when I get it out there. I always forget which one's which, and I haven't labeled it. And I don't know what that is yet. We'll turn it on. We'll figure it out. But one of these up here does something. Either way, we're going to run it on our 1303S. This thing's all charged up and ready to go. I think it's the right amount. If we're pretending this is going to be for a comp style build, we're going to use something kind of lightweight. It doesn't have to have a whole lot of, voltage, mileage, milliamp hours. We don't need a whole lot. Now, this is in here because I did go ahead and order via Amazon the dig unit for it. And I did not make a video for the installation because honestly, I didn't want to try to have you guys watch what could have amounted to an hour and a half of me trying to figure it out. That being said, it wasn't really that hard. I actually just looked up Exocaged's video on doing the base camp dig conversion. It's the exact same thing. So I'll link his video in there and you can see him do it, and you'll get to see exactly how it goes. But I'll just tell you this, it is you're going to get this part. This is going to come out completely, and they give you a whole new one. So it almost looks like you're going to disassemble this by the instructions, but you're not. This is going to come out, and then you build a new one. These are the old rear drive shafts because they give you shorter ones because the dig unit actually pushes the truck, makes the whole transmission a little bit longer. But the whole thing was actually pretty easy. And to be honest, the hardest part was trying to get the original half and the new half of the dig portion to come together. We're talking about things that are molded in different places in different times and all that good stuff. So that was somewhat of a menace, but it wasn't that bad. From a technical standpoint, it was pretty easy. Just trying to get those two parts to want to line up the right way and get all of the internals to also line up and then come together nice and clean. That was somewhat annoying, but we do it because we love it, right? So instead of using the servo saver that they give you, I opted to buy the Injora. That is an Injora servo saver, and it works really nicely. It's actually perfect and cheap. I think it was like, I don't know, and that's aluminum, maybe $11, probably less. I think I got one in the package here. Yeah, I bought 2 of them because they were so inexpensive. And the reason I do that is because the one that Axial provides you is for their little proprietary servos with the tiny little servo spline that no good servo uses. I could have just used this. This came out of probably a Capra or something. I don't know. This would have worked, but I just like to do it once and have it work. So this takes a standard 25T spline on the servo, not this weird little tiny thing that Spectrum does for theirs. The dig kit also provided you with a Reefs style servo horn or servo saver horn attachment. I don't know. It didn't fit the TR4 from Power HD. This is my preferred micro servo. I use it in everything. Any kind of dig, any kind of 2-speed that requires a micro servo, I use the TR4. These are a direct replacement for any of your Traxxas micro servos for your TRX4, 2-speed, diff lock, all that good stuff. And it goes right in there. It's slightly more narrow on the ears, so I had to source my own screws just to kind of make that fit in there. But it actually works really well. Now, some things to consider. This servo saver, it is like extremely close to the motor, and I think it actually touches the motor when it's engaged in that direction. So I don't know if there's something to that. This is a Fusion Pro 2300. We knew that was going in there, but this could be a good reason to get the new Fusion Pro Elite, because it is quite a bit shorter than this can. It's quite a bit shorter. So, you know, if you have what questions or wondering about if your setup's going to work, I think I just got lucky with this, and it all fit great. And I've tested it in my garage and on the floor and on the bench and all that a bunch of times, and it works really well. So something to keep in mind if you go this route. Perhaps if you go for this motor and you go with a Spectrum setup or the Reefs that they provide, the servo saver horn for in the kit, perhaps you won't have that problem. This isn't even a problem. I'm just telling you that it's quite close, and it could be a problem. Now, some other things that I did. This is somewhat of a budget performance build, right? The most expensive thing here that actually adds performance is the ESC and motor combination. Next in line is the dig unit conversion. That's a huge performance improvement, the dig and the motor. The dig on Amazon, this was $53. I'll put a link in there. If you find it somewhere else, just make sure it's that part number for cheaper. Buy it there. But Amazon had it when I looked, and it was going to come fairly quickly. So that's what I did. $53 and change. The servo upgrade was unnecessary, but it's nice. The servo winch was unnecessary, but it's cool and functional. So if you were to buy the Coyote and you were wanting to make it have way better performance for as little money as possible, I would go this route. I would do this in this order. Dig, because the stock electronics are functional. They're okay. You can learn to drive them better, and you can program the ESC, and you can run it 2S, so it will be less jumpy. It would be the dig. You'll need a servo. I already had a TR4 hanging around for future things I knew I would build. The tires are already good. They already had dual stage. I went ahead and found these are a main brand foams that I got for half off, and they were only like, I don't know, $15 for 4 of them, something like that. But the dual stage that came in here they're okay. They're functional. So if you don't add a ton of weight to this thing, what came in it is fine. But if you want to go ahead and throw in some preferred dual stage or your silicone inserts, have a party, just know that you don't really have to if you're trying to gain significant performance without spending a ton of money. I also did shock keys. So instead of getting different shocks, because these shocks are pretty good, they're damped well, they don't leak, they were just too tall. So I just got some shock keys. These are on Amazon. These are $11 for 4. They are threaded in here, and the screw will go in easily. And the holes in the shock keys line up with the holes in the towers. So these are pretty much just buy it and bolt it on. This is as high as you can put the key before it hits the body. So you can't go any higher than this. So you have a lot more adjustability if you want to lower them or angle the shock differently. Anywhere from this plane down, you can do that. Which, I mean, you could see here. I suppose hypothetically, if you really wanted to, you could probably put them where you want it and then grind off the top. But this is going to hit the body regardless. So you're kind of just, you're chasing something that you don't need to. And all you're really left to do is lay them as high up as possible and then lay the shock out as far as possible if you're looking to lower the truck and reduce the amount of overall height in the truck. This does that. So these shock keys are $11. I'll put them in the description as well. The lights, those are not performance. Those are just cool. And you'll notice that in the front here, I had to go with the third hole to the rear. And that is because the shock it hits the battery tray. It hits it. So I just had to basically back it off as far as I had to make it work. And it does work. It's still got good flex. It is considerably more planted to the ground. And I think it's going to perform well, which we're going to find out in this video here. What else? Performance-wise, I think that's honestly it. If you don't really... Oh, shoot. Well, you know what? Because they don't give you the ability to run dig out of the box. They give you the receiver. This is why I had the problem with it initially. I don't think this comes with the remote that does dig. Yeah. No. It comes with that thing over there. It's a 2-channel. That's what it comes with. Yeah, so well, you're gonna have to figure that out. I already had Dumbo receivers and transmitters laying around from other RCs. So yeah, if you're gonna put dig in this, you're gonna have to figure that out. I guess that changes things as far as the budget goes, but you can find people's takeouts and stuff. And I got a bunch of stuff too. Like I'm probably gonna offer something up here as a giveaway, or just I tend to just like hook my friends up. So I'll give you some tips when taking things apart and adding the dig. I'm gonna flip the truck over so you can look at it. There's a reason why this screw is circled. When I installed the dig, Exocaged didn't talk about this, and maybe he just didn't have the problem. I don't know, because he was putting his in a base camp. That could be a difference, but that screw is shorter than the rest of these. If you use out of the 4 here, and they provide you with the additional screws because you're adding something on the back of here, so it's entirely possible I just didn't realize it and was using the original screws when I was supposed to be using one of the replacement screws that comes with it. The screw is circled because it's shorter. If you try to use one of these other screws here and they're all very close. but that one is shorter. If you try to use one of those in there, your dig won't work. That screw goes up in there and it hits something, and then your dig just quits working, and then you don't have any drive in the rear at all. That's what it does. It like traps it. So that that screw right there, if you're looking at it, right, this is the front and this is the back. It's the screw on the driver middle. So there's two middle screws. It's going to be the one that's on the driver bias side. Okay. That one's a little shorter. So pay attention to that if you do this. And if you look at some of the markings I have here, those are just to see if the screws if they back out at all. It's just like a little trick I've done with like, you know, people who install and engineer things will put witness marks to see if their screws are moving. Instead of having to put a tool on it and look at it, you could just see if your marks are walking on the screws. You also notice on the drive shafts, to make this easier without having to look down in there to see where your phasing is, you just do it before you put it back in. You can basically install that blind down there and then know that you just have to have these dots aligned. So I know that because when I assembled these on the bench and had the joints, the universals in phase, right, so aligned, I know that if I see these two marks next to each other, that both ends are correct. Because I didn't put it on this little extension piece. They're actually on either side. So it's over here too. That one got a little bit more for whatever reason. Doesn't matter. You just put the mark there so you know. And I think that was it. I do that with a lot of RCs. Just little things along the way as you disassemble to make it easier when you put it back together. Just little tricks you can use. I think that's really it. This thing is ready to go get tested. The tires still feel really good. I took the amber out. I went back to white. See how that looks on the trail. Give me a little bit more usable light. I think the biggest upgrade is going to be the dig and the shot keys, lowering everything down. Still got plenty of flex. Still got good steering, of course. But yeah, this is going to be I think it's going to be a real performer. So I'm going to cut the bench talk part of this video out, and then we're going to jump out to the trail. We're going to go hit up Slick Rock, where this thing did the initial impressions and initial crawl. So stick with me. We're going to be out there in a blink of an eye. If I've done this correctly, we'll have just come from the bench. I talked about the things we did to it, and now we're going to test it. We're at Slick Rock. Well, let me not be rude. Welcome, everybody. Newcomers, long-time channel watchers, and all you. Appreciate you. And you're the reason I do this, and thanks for stopping by and spending your time with me. But what we got here today is the Axial Coyote. We're in a slightly different spot. We're out at Slick Rock, but this is a spot that this little guy had not seen before. Just because the day that I brought it out for the initial trail run, it was crowded, so I did not bring it up here. This is a cool little spot. We will go down with it to test it on at least a couple of obstacles that it had some trouble with previously. But I figured I was up here testing another RC for the channel, and might as well see what this little guy has in store. So we're going to try to jump down this V here. Well, we're not going to jump. We're going to take it nice and slow. And I think with the low slung suspension now and the dig, I will likely get myself nice and low. And then when this truck is about to come over, all right, just got to remember where dig is. So now I got my rears locked. Oh yeah, I couldn't do that again if you gave me $100. I guess we're gonna say count it. That was pretty legit. Yeah, we did it. That was neat. All right, let me go ahead and use the dig and turn around. I'm almost positive there's no way I can drive up this. Just gonna flip backwards. Doesn't mean I'm not gonna try. Come on. If I can get my passenger front high enough. Also, if it isn't obvious, I'm either sick or have allergies. Sorry. Yeah, this truck's not long enough to do this. I'm happy we got down, though. That was neat. See if we could get down this without landing on our face. Use the dig. Nope. I guess we still count it. Let me change positions. All right. Yeah, as I said in the beginning part of this video, the dig is going to be kind of the most important thing. And if you're not going to lower it like I did with the shock keys, you're going to have to add weight. I don't have any added weight in this except for the little bit of additional weight from the aluminum bead locks. Now we could just crawl right down this, continue on down somewhat straight, but we're going to use the dig and turn us. So very quickly I disengaged dig and then gave her some beans to keep her on her wheels. So that worked out well. Now I'm going to try to go up that. But first I need to suck my winch in. It's coming out a little bit. There we go. I was pretty sure this has overdrive. I was pretty sure it had overdrive out of the box. Yeah. Ready to approach this a little bit higher. Maybe more straight on. Oh. Well, I was starting to think I was going to have that. Started getting my hopes up and everything. Sure is athletic now. Well, it has a way of landing back on its wheels. I'm not mad about that. I've almost got this. Huh. Some of you experienced competition people are probably going, shaking your head right now. Seems like reverse is a little bit more powerful than it needs to be. All right, now I'm just landing on the lights and bending things, busting up my body for no good reason. Pretty durable though. Yeah, just don't attach your lights super securely, and that way they won't want to break when you land on them. They'll just kind of move out of the way. Makes me think maybe I need to try that line again over here and use dig right when I feel the truck starting to want to tip back. Get my hooks in a little bit better. You get to forgetting that you have all these tools because it gets so close. Yeah, I lost that line before I ever got there. Well, I had my dig on, but it didn't work quick enough. I was almost there. I think we can get it. Well, the test of the upgrades are actually turned into a test of the body's durability. Yeah, the dig's just not working. There it goes. All right, I'm gonna make one more attempt. This dig being very spotty in how it works makes me wonder if the no, the dig position is away from the motor, so it's not how close they are. There's something else going on there. Yeah, I had to hit reverse a little bit to get dig to engage. Yeah, I can't get dig to engage predictably. It's not working the way it's supposed to. I might have to put this on another remote because I can't adjust the trim on this. It's just, you get it or you don't. All right, spent like 15 minutes on this. I'm pretty sure based on how well it's doing here, it will do the other part of Slick Rock with very little problems. Yeah, I actually think ASD would be a better option in this. Yep, I'm done with that one. We'll just crawl out of here and go to the other spot. Man, these lights are taking a beating. And I wrongly assumed, I guess, that this would be an easy crawl out. Well, that was a whole lot more work than I thought it was going to be. All right, we're back over at our familiar side of Slick Rock with this little guy, the Coyote. We're going to test our mods. There's a specific obstacle we're going to see if we can do. I'm going to predict it's going to have no problem just based on how it did on the other portion that I just showed you. Even though I was unsuccessful at one of those hard lines, it was a pretty hard line. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show her. I am more than likely going to put this on my DDF 350 so I can trim out the dig, because it's not giving me the dig on command like it should. That's one way to enter. This is in fact a durability test. This is not a test of the mods. This is how much abuse can the Coyote take. So I'm clearly not paying attention to what I'm doing. Perhaps I've lowered it too much. The beauty of the shot keys is you just back them off one hole and you'll be all right. And just keep backing them off until you get the height you want. Oh. I'm getting pushed over by trees. Yeah, that little springy guy right behind me. See if we can climb that over there. That's not scale. Yeah, there was dig again, not working. Yeah, I have to put it in reverse for it to engage, which is not how dig works. It's supposed to be a constant effort by your servo. This really does not look like it ought to be that hard. Right here. All right, last time we went up this, it was pretty easy. Looks like it's going to be let's see. Yep, still pretty easy. It is threatening to unload and come on down, though, isn't it? The dig did its job. So now that we have dig, our descents can be pretty crazy without having to do a bunch of weight and suspension mods. It is lower, so I'm pretty sure I can do this with no problem. Yeah, it's pretty predictable and settled. Will it go back up? Oh. Well, that ain't how you do that. Well, the Coyote's day is over. I broke the steering link with a panhard bar right at the link. The plastic didn't break. The actual metal part that screws in, that broke. Right there. That ain't no good at all. Well, I did abuse it, and these things happen. The panhard itself didn't break. Those are metal now. In case that wasn't in a previous video. So, all right. Well, moving on. We're back from the trail run. It's actually the next day. All the filming I did for the Coyote and a couple other RCs I brought out to Slick Rock took some time well into the evening. So I do want to do a sort of like a trail debrief just real quick. I think I've decided I'm going to take the Coyote off of this 6-channel Dumbo. There's nothing wrong with the radio. It's just that I don't know why, but the dig was not reliably functioning. I'm going to investigate that, but if I put it on the DDF 350, I can adjust the trims as I see fit. And with this one, I can't assign the buttons to do what I want. I can only plug them into the channel and then have them do whatever that channel is. So, you know, channel 4 only controls channel 4, 3 for 3, and so on and so forth. But the DDF 350 allows you to, I can have my front lights plugged into channel 4, but I can tell the remote that channel 8 controls it, which is almost certainly what I'll do, because that's how I pretty much do everything. The main light function is channel 8. And I will probably make my winch in and out 3 and 4 on a momentary function, similar to what this is. These are, I don't like to have to reach these. These are easier to reach. I can drive one-handed. And I put a thumb steer on this, by the way. It was like $15 and it fits perfectly for the Dumbo DDF 350. Anyway, that's new. So it didn't come that way. And it's just easier to drive and then function the winch in and out and in, or whichever one I choose. And I can assign any key on here out of 10 channels to do anything. So I don't like my winch on dials because those can get bumped and then just start going crazy. I'd rather have it be a momentary switch like this, or like what they are on here. I just don't like trying to reach this across, and then, you know, this is just easier if it's right here. Typically, these channels are going to be reserved for front and rear locking differentials, but this truck doesn't have it. So I'm probably just going to throw it on here. And this thing is actually running out. It only holds 10 models. I don't know why they've restricted it that way, but the new update for it did not expand the model memory capability, but that's okay. These are really inexpensive. I actually bought another one recently. It's over there. And I'm going to differentiate between the two because I bought a second one of these and it's red. So I will easily be able to tell which one is which based on the thumb steer. But that's what I'm going to do. That's kind of how I feel about, you know, the real world usage of this setup. I'm going to switch it over here and then let me figure out what's going on with the dig. I'm going to fool with it with this first just to see if it's a mechanical thing or if it really is just a radio channel trimming issue that isn't easily solved with the radio I had it on. But this thing never actually got to do the one line that was giving it such a hard time because I broke it. If you watch the footage, I crashed this thing a lot. So ended up being kind of a durability test accidentally, but the body is still in one piece, no cracks, no nothing. I did just break the panhard bar. Panhard bar snapped off right at this link. Right there. So I can't even use the threaded end because it's broke in there. I could probably shave that down and grab it with some pliers and pull it out, which I might try to do. But it broke off right there where it threads into that link end. So I got another one on the way. It was $10. It's $10 and it comes with the link ends. It'll fix me right up. You know, I can't really be mad at it. This thing took a whole lot of dives onto its face. So, you know, these are hobby grade toys and we break them and then we fix them and then we try it again. So this one's going to get a redemption run out at Slick Rock to make that one line that kept kicking its butt on its first outing. I do think the suspension might need some tweaking. I'm sort of thinking maybe I'm going to move the shocks back one hole. So back that way one and then forward that way one. This is a pretty extreme angle difference from the original setup. So I don't know. I think maybe I went a little bit too far, but because, you know, it couldn't get up and over things. It just kept dragging, even though this has that nice low and a boat style skid and all that good stuff and low pro links. I just could not get enough breakover to get over things. And yeah, that is as much droop as it has. So I need to do something about that. I think just to very simply just move these back, move the front ones forward and move the rear ones backwards a hole, maybe 2 holes. We'll see. You know, it's easy. It's 4 screws. That's why you get these, so you can tune them and try things out. But I'm going to give that a shot because I don't think this thing ever seemed like it was threatening to fall over sideways. So I think that's what I'm going to try. But I'll tell you what, while we're on camera here, I'm going to go grab a battery and put it in this and see if we can recreate or at least examine what the dig was doing. She's alive. Okay. Kind of had me a little drink of Coke Cherry Zero. All right, so I got dig set up here on channel 3, which I don't like. There's another reason why I want to change it. But you see it there. The servo itself seems to be doing its job. Oh, we got dig. Going back into regular drive seems like it ought to be the problem because it's hitting the motor can. And dig has all the free run out that it needs. It looks like I just need this to pull a little bit harder that way to be reliable. I don't know. I am pretty certain that putting it on the other radio and letting me watch that pull out is gonna do exactly what I want it to. It's funny, it seems to work just fine on the bench. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I know the servo is plenty strong enough. This can take up to 8.4 volts. It's running on 7.4. And that is just because it does feel pretty warm though. It's running on 7.4, I think, because the Fusion Pro, this one, I don't think it does 8.4. Maybe I should plug it in and check and see what I put it on, because now I'm curious. But this thing's capable of 8.4 volts. I wonder if it's getting warm because it's constantly trying to pull the servo that way, and it's hitting this. It is pretty warm. But these are really robust servos, these Power HDs. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I wonder if I need to move one spline away that way. I'm going to fool with that. I'll come back. All right, well, in a very strange turn of events, I don't know why, but the servo is not reacting at all now. This is new to me. I hadn't experienced that before. I've never had one of these servos fail. So I think it is almost certainly due to it being in here and trying to move further than it can, and it just gave up. It gave up because it just couldn't do it anymore. I guess. I don't know. That's strange. I've never had one of these do that. Doesn't matter what channel I put it in, it won't react. It just moves on its own. Well, it doesn't move at all. If I put the servo horn back on it, and tighten it down, it should not let me move it, but it does. It doesn't. It's like it's not getting any command from the receiver, but I'm pretty sure it is. It's just the servo is just broken. Because even if I put it into a different channel that works, like channel 6 for the winch, it doesn't do anything. But when I plug the winch back into channel 6, it works. So I guess I could try the steering. That's closer to being like that. It's just annoying having to undo all these wires. All right. Steering is pulled. Ground goes on the outside. Yeah. The servo's dead. I don't know how that happened. That's very weird. But okay, I guess we got 2 things to repair on the Coyote. And yeah, I'm going to figure this out. I was not expecting this at all. It seemed like a pretty straightforward build. Thought I had good parts. So I'm not really sure what happened. It was working until it wasn't working, I'll tell you that. And I don't think any of the crashing caused this. So I'm just going to let that be what it is. And next video is going to be me getting this thing working. And we're going to try it again back out there at Slick Rock and finally defeat that obstacle that kept sending this thing off down the hill. Anyway, kind of a sad day for the Coyote, but hey, it's good. It's good content for the channel, right? That's what we're all here for. But I do appreciate you stopping by and having a look at the current state and how it did. It was doing okay until I broke it, and now it's even more broken. But be sure to come back for its redemption run whenever I get her fixed up. We'll, of course, do a video on that. Appreciate it, everybody. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, ring the bell, all that stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.